Okay, today we are going to start a new project in Premiere Pro for our commercial assignment. What I've done with this is I've gone out and with a couple of friends of mine over one weekend, we got this pretty fancy camera, which was fancy for 4 or 5 years ago. Now it's still a good camera, but there are plenty better cameras now. So I have some footage I went with some friends and shot where we came up with this scenario that we could tell this story using footage about a father and son that go up into the mountains to bury a piggy bank. And we thought it might be a fun way to, pitch the idea of savings to financial institutions to like sell savings accounts. But there's no money to the financial institutions for pitching savings accounts, so no banks are selling savings accounts. They're selling all this stuff that's going to make them more money. So if you ever see a bank advertising for something, know that it's because it's something that they can make money on. All right, there's my rant against the financial institution, the financial system and banks. So let's make a bank commercial. All right, so talk me through this. If this is totally second nature to you at this point, then don't shout out the answers. Let other people talk me through it. But what do we do at this point? We started up Premiere. We need to click on New Project, right?
Create your folders first.
That's very good. Create your folders first. If I go to mine, I actually already have a project set up for this, and it's the commercial project. But I already have my assets folder with my audio, graphics, and video. And I also have an audition folder that's has a project in it for audio recording. Have my output folder, and I have my Premiere folder. Okay, so I already have all that set up. Whatever file structure you have set up, like I talked about a couple weeks ago, setting up your folder structure and then just having empty folders with your folder structure set up so that it's ready to go. You just duplicate your empty folders and your project's ready to go. So yes, that's the first thing you do. But if I go back over to Premiere, if I go to my welcome screen and I select New Project, then I can type, what I'm going to type is my first and last name, and I'm going to call this 2016 Commercial Project, or 2016 Commercial. That's good. All this other stuff is fine to just leave the way it is, but you want to make sure that you know right where your project file is going, so click Browse, and this is basically your Save As box. So I'm going to go into my external hard drive, this old folder for the class, commercial project, and in my Premiere folder I'm going to select Choose. Okay, so when I click OK, that'll open up, finish opening Premiere, and then we can get our project going. Alright, so just like you want to keep your file structure on your computer organized, you want to keep your bin structure or your folder structure organized in Premiere. This project, for sure, we're going to have some audio files, we're going to have some graphics, and we're going to have some video files. So I'm going to go ahead and start with just making those 3 bins by clicking New Bin in the bottom right corner of the project panel. Type audio, and then do another one. The other method is I right-click in the project panel. Call this one video. Make another one and call this graphics. Okay, we're not going to work with the graphics today. Actually, maybe we will. Depends on how long it takes us. Let's import stuff into these folders. So if I select my video folder and hit Command I, then everything I import with this action is going to automatically put it into my video bin. Okay? So if I navigate upward in my commercial project, select my assets, select video, and then select all of these video files. Then when I click import, it'll process all those files and put them in that video bin.
I have a question.
Uh-huh.
Maybe a dumb question. But where is the drive where you get all these videos from?
If there should be a link on your desktop to the M drive, it's a shortcut. And then if you go to the,
Oh, okay.
yeah, you have to log into that M drive, and then go to Web 2300 Bank Spec Commercial.
Is
It's
this
all in
on
there.
the website or is this on these computers?
It's on a server that all these computers are connected to.
Oh, so maybe
So,
that was on. Oh,
yeah,
so
you'll
else
wanna-
now.
You'll want to bring your external hard drive in and
I have that.
copy it all over.
So
I already maxed my 1 gigabyte space that I have on Canvas. So
So the bins that we're making are video, graphics, and what?
audio, video, audio, and graphics. All right. So we could go through all these. I prefer this list view, just because I prefer to see things in chronological order. The number of each of these shots goes up in a numerical order, which is the order that we shot them in. So one of the reasons why I like looking at it in list view is because if I find the next shot, here's a little tip for when you're editing and you don't have any director's notes. There's a reason why the crew would stop shooting this shot and move on to shoot this shot. Does anybody want to guess why?
Position of the camera.
That's what comes next.
Okay, so we got there, we got up the mountain, and we shot this shot first. There's 1, 2, 3 clips that are that shot. Then you see the next shot was this one. That was the next shot we got. Does anybody want to guess why we moved on from this one and started shooting this one?
Continuity.
Okay, let me keep clicking here. We got 1, 2, 3, 4.
Those were like establishing shots.
Okay, but we did 4 takes of that shot.
Is it so you don't keep running back and forth between your locations?
I think you guys are overthinking this. It means we got it. We got it. We got the shot we wanted. No point in keeping on shooting it.
Okay.
Move on, get the next shot.
Okay.
Okay? So as an editor, if you don't have any notes whatsoever, typically, if there are many takes of the same shot,
The last one.
look at the last couple for the good one. Okay? Because usually if the crew feel like they got it, the director says, yes, I got that, I love it. Let's do one more just in case it's better. And it's not. They say, well, we got it anyway, so let's move on. Okay, so it's usually one of the last couple or 3 shots. If there's only 4 takes, chances are it's one of the last 2. Okay, if you go down to the last shots, the final shots in this bedroom, there's like 10 of this. All of them are a little bit different. I didn't actually shoot those shots, but so you can go through, click on these, and just get familiar with the footage, just so you know kind of what is available to you. You can go and make your own notes by going off to the side here and typing in a description. If you want to, you can give each of these setups a name, establishing shot 01, establishing shot 02, and then put in the description, you know, whatever you want so that you can keep it organized like you want to. But again, this project is still small enough that you may not really need to do too much of that. That's only really for projects where, like with documentaries, there's hours and hours and hours of B-roll that you can't just look through quickly. You have to have descriptions and know who's in the interview and maybe what the interview is talking about, because otherwise you can't go back and watch every minute of footage over and over and over when there's 15, 20, 30 hours of footage. In this case, there's like 10 minutes, 12 minutes of it. So this isn't that big of a project. We're actually editing something that we shot up in Idaho last week for a 60-second commercial. We have, I think, 3 hours of footage for this 60-second commercial, because the crew just went up there and shot everything they could possibly think of, just to cover every possible request that could come down. Oh, well, it'd sure be nice if we had a shot like this. Well, guess what? We got that. So some shoots are very, very storyboarded right down to the frame. Other shoots are just like, we want to get something that feels like this, and then you go get a bunch of stuff, and then you have to figure out how to put it together. All right, so I personally like to start my spot with this shot. So let's start a new sequence. Who wants to tell me how to make a new sequence? What's the most important thing when you're making your first sequence for your project? I'll say this several more times this semester. It's the frame rate. Whatever your sequence's frame rate is, it needs to be the same as the footage that's going into it. Frame size is nice also. So what's the best way to make sure the sequence that you're going to do your editing in matches the footage you're using?
Let's see. Let's look at it.
Okay. If you right click on it and you say new sequence from clip, then it'll create a new sequence that has all the properties of that first clip that goes into it. And then I can rename this. I can name this Scott Halford commercial. All right. Right now that's in, oh geez, all my footage did not go into my bin. Let's put it in my bin. There. Now I have a sequence in there somewhere. There it is. Let's move that out into my project panel. Okay. Now if I want to, I can delete this clip out and just start doing my own editing. But I do want to use this shot. So let me just make a trim. I'm going to hit spacebar and watch it. Let's say right there is where I want to come in. As I'm watching this, because this is a story of a father and son, I am always going to be interested in what is happening between the father and the son. There's no dialogue in this spot, so what do you think I'm going to be most interested in?
How they're interacting.
The interaction, the physical movement, Right now, on this frame, the father's looking down at him and the kid's looking up. And then they both look forward right here. So that might be, I don't know, that might be a good moment to start with. Father's looking down. So if I trim this back here and then find the frame right where he's looking up and then trim it back there, then let's look at how long that shot is right now. It's 2 seconds long. Now for this assignment, you're going to make a 30-second commercial. That means your commercial from frame 1 to frame end needs to be exactly 30 seconds long. I just gave this shot 2 seconds. That's 1/15 of my commercial that I just gave this shot. So can you imagine how quickly we could fill 30 seconds? 30 seconds is actually, it's easy to fill, but it's hard to tell all the story you want to tell because you only have 30 seconds. And you need to leave a bunch of time at the end to give the banks information or whatever commercial you're making this for. What was the question?
I was just wondering which clip you're using.
It's the last one of this shot. I like this one because it's got that big lens flare in it.
Is that like, so is it 88?
Yeah, 888. Okay. If you turn in a commercial that's the exact same edit as mine, you don't get as many points because you have to do your own. That's the point of this assignment, is you're doing your own storytelling here. So I'm going to work fast now because I want to get a few more clips on the timeline. So if I go to my video, so I got that shot. I like this shot. There's a part of this clip, I think, where he kind of looks bummed. It's that part right there. He moves his head back and forth. He's kind of not really into what's going on here. So I'm going to hit an in point there, out point there. And in this case, because I don't need any of the audio from these clips that I'm dragging down, every time I drag video down from my source panel, I'm going to drag it from the video clip, so I only drag the video down. The other way I could do that is just disarm all of my audio tracks so no audio gets dropped down in the timeline. And then next up, I have another shot. Not that one yet, it's this one. Okay, so let me look at this one. Maybe you could get any piece of this you want, really. But I'm going to grab that for now because I need to show you some other editing tricks. Sun looking up at him, super bright, he can't see. We try something different. All right, I like that look because he's looking at what the dad's doing. And then there's a shot later on where I think I passed it already. This one. Let's get this little piece right here. I need to put enough down here so that so I can tell enough of this story. Let me go to thumbnail mode so I can see these. Is it this shot? See how I can just scrub along, look at that thumbnail, quickly see. There's a shot where we pan up and see the dad lean on the shovel. That's it. Let me set an in and out point from here. Drag that down. Then I really like the shot where the dad leads the son away by the hand. This one. And then there's another shot where we see the piggy bank go down in the hole. This one. Whoop. $905, $906. I think it's $907 that I want. Let's try that one. All right, so there's a couple of things I talk about here. I put some of these clips in out of order, but that's okay because I need to show you some key commands. All right, so I have some clips down on the timeline. Let's just watch them back to back for a second. We're interested in the story that's being told here. So we see these guys walking up the hill. Sun's not very cheerful. Dad digs a hole. They look at each other. Bad cut. Dad leaves son away. All right. So what are some problems you see with this so far?
They walked away and then you put the piggy bank in the hole.
Yeah, there's a couple of clips that are out of order. Shouldn't the pig go in the hole and the dirt go on before they pat it and walk away? Yeah. So let's do a little switch-o change-o here. Now, wouldn't it be nice if I could just take this clip and put it right here and just have that one move out of the way to make room for it? Well, I can. When you do that, if you want to do that, when you move the clip, this last clip to be right in front of this clip, if you hold down Command, see that vertical line that just showed up with all those right-facing arrows on it? That means it's going to do an insert edit. So it'll push everything from there over to make a hole to put the clip in. That's how you can swap the order of clips really easily. So let's see here. Take a look at this shot. We've got this shovel going out, or the father looks at the son, and then we have this like weird pan that goes, or this tilt that goes down before we cut. Did you guys like that? I didn't either. Let's find the frame right before that tilt starts. Right about there. What would you do to get rid of this excess clippage?
Command K.
Command K?
Yeah.
Okay. Then what?
You can select that clip and hit delete.
Select this clip, hit delete. Now what?
Oh wait. Actually no, you want to do a ripple delete.
Okay.
So, control, yeah, Command Z. Ripple delete.
Undo that. Do a ripple delete. Okay. What could we do that would be about 3 steps shorter than that? Command K, select ripple delete. What could we do that would make that 1 step?
You hold Command on the cut line of the clip afterwards and drag it to.
Okay. Hold Command here so that this red bracket turns into a yellow bracket, which turns it into the ripple edit tool. Drag it back, snap it to the playhead, and you just did it all in one move. Was your way wrong?
No.
No. Was it less efficient?
Yeah.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with doing the other method. Because the most important thing is the end product, right? It doesn't even matter, because right now I've got all these clips on the same time on the same track. It wouldn't matter if you had like extra this one here, this one here, this one here, and each one of these extending out below. It's not as tidy, but again, it's not wrong. Because if you look at this, and if I hit play, it's the exact same cut. Okay, so there's nothing wrong with it if that's the way you want to work. It gets a little messy, but nothing wrong with it. Especially if you're just learning. All right, so let's look at this from a timing perspective. Let's see if we feel like we've seen each clip long enough. Just tell me how you feel about it. What do you guys think?
Those are all pretty evenly spaced out.
Okay, they're pretty evenly spaced out. It's a good observation.
I think the close-up on the son walking next to his father could be a little longer.
Okay. In the back?
It skips a lot. Like, so, not skip, but it goes from scene to scene too quickly. It's
Okay.
just too jumpy.
Okay, so we had an observation that each of the clips was evenly spaced, but then the feeling about those clips by the next comment was that it was too fast. So should we add a few frames onto each of these? Let's try it. Let's just ripple edit some of these. Hold down Command. Let this come out a little bit farther this way. Maybe let this one come out a little farther this way. Have this one come out a little farther this way. He's got a real grumpy look on his face right there. Look at him. Arrgh. Maybe I'll let that one happen a little longer. All right. I agree. Those were too close together. And the reason why is because you don't necessarily have to have a long clip all the time to process the story. But because we were going from such extreme angles, we were going from this wide one to this close-up one to all the way over the other side of his shoulder rather quickly. I actually want to use a different shot than this one, and we'll explore some options there. But let's just watch this and see how we feel about it. Okay, how did you feel about it that time?
Better.
Better pacing. I see some other problems. This one is cutting in the middle of this. It's cutting in the middle of this action. I'm not really convinced that I'm getting the read from this shot that I need. So I can try adding a little bit more to this one. Is that better? Okay. Let me look for an alternative to this one. If I right click on this and select Reveal in Project, where did it go? Reveal in Project. Let me look at my list view, find it there. Let me see what the next one looks like. Let's scrub through this a little bit and see what's going on. I kind of like this look that he gives him here. That one? Or, yeah, that's my only next option. This one's nice too because you can see that the kid's holding the piggy bank. Dad gives him a look. Let's drop that down on the timeline on the track above. That way we can not destroy the fact that we've used this other clip, but we can keep it there as an option. See how I feel about this. Okay, can you guys see another action that maybe we could cut on to connect these two clips together? If I cut this clip shorter on this dirt being thrown by the shovel, I could get away with using like half as much of that clip, and then find the clip where where the dad's hands are doing the action of throwing the dirt out right there. Maybe start it there. Okay, maybe even a little later. We need to find the shovel moving to the left. See, there's like a double move. So let's, I'm going to use a tool called the slip tool. Okay, and what the slip tool is going to do is it's going to keep this clip occupying the amount of space that it is, but it will act like the space that it's taking up is a window, and then you slide the clip underneath that window. It's like if you had, can you stand up for a second? Just hold your hands up like this. Okay, like this. It's like, so you can see this portion of the paper underneath your hands, right?
Yeah.
If I slip it this way, don't move your hands.
Okay.
But if I slip the paper this way, the hole is the same size, but you're seeing a different part of it, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's what the slip tool does. So if I want to have this shot come in, but I want it to start on that frame rather than the frame that it's on, then if I use the slip tool, this is it right here. The key command for it is Y. Then if I grab this clip and start dragging it to the left, then in this program monitor, it'll show me the first frame, the new first frame, and the new last frame as I move this way.
That's cool.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So then I just move that over till the first frame is on that action that I'm looking for, and then I let go. That's if I might, like, if I'm editing a music video and I've got the clip comes in on one beat and out on another beat, but I got the wrong part of the clip in there. You just use the slip tool to find the right part, and you don't have to trim left and right out, ripple this way and that way, because that'll throw the timing of everything else off. You just use the slip tool and it changes the part of the clip that you see. Okay, that's the slip tool. Did that connect? Let's watch farther back.
Kind of.
What was wrong with it?
I think it's off by like maybe 4 frames to the right.
4 frames to the right? Okay. Let me get my selection tool back again. Now, if I want to move this clip exactly 4 frames, if I type in -4 and hit enter, it'll shift it exactly 4 frames to the left. Minus is left, plus is right. Okay? So that way you don't have to guess at the distance of 4 frames, because you don't know you're zoomed in or zoomed out. I don't know. So let's see if that 4 frames made the difference.
Maybe it was the wrong
'Kay.
direction.
Wrong direction? Should I say +8? I'll
So
make it
to
go.
get that, you just hit enter.
Yeah, you just +8. This clip has to be selected. Okay? The clip you want to move, you can do a group of clips. Okay? You can select a bunch of them if you want to move a group of them. So let's see how that looks. That looks pretty good. All right. Now here's,
Just out of curiosity, could you slip a clip the same way a certain number of frames instead of?
yeah, so if you're, I think, I may be wrong, but if you select it with the slip tool active,
And then do the minus.
and then do the minus for, let me see if this will work. Oh no, it shifted it over. But if you look below my cursor, my mouse, when I click and I start to drag to the right, see that little number? It's ticking 1, 2, 3, 4. That's 4 frames. So that'll keep track for you also. So I've gone 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds. Yeah, I thought it might with the tool active. That's very intuitive though. I like the way you're thinking about it. All right. So let's talk about connecting these clips together. If you're watching a movie and two people are having a conversation and they're talking about their friend, they're like talking behind their back and they're like, well, I don't know what he said. Well, what do you think he said? Well, let's go find out. Cut to
Bless you.
some other apartment door opening up. What happened? Okay. The setting is two friends are talking to each other in their apartment. They have this conversation about their other friend and they said, let's go find out. And then you see a door open.
It's them leaving or moving someplace else.
Okay, they're going someplace else. What if you see the door open and their friend's face is revealed by it? What happened then?
They just came in.
They overheard him.
But the friend lives across town. What if the friend lives across town? What do you think happened?
They drove there.
They drove there. Do we have to see them walk out into the street, get in the car, turn on the car, drive the car, arrive at the other place, get out of the car, walk up to the door, knock on the door, see the door open? No, if there's a motivation, they say, I don't know, let's go over to his house and find out. And then you hear this door creak open, and the friend is behind the door. You could guess that maybe whatever mode they took, they went over to the friend's house, right? Especially if you inserted an establishing shot in between there. I don't know, let's go over to the Brady's and find out. Exterior shot of the Brady's. You know, Marcia walks up to the door and answers the door, you know? You don't have to see everything that happens in order to get that something is happening. Just like in this story, what we're trying to do is use these shots to say, this dad is taking this son up into the mountain, digging a hole for the son to put his piggy bank in. We don't have to see every single dirt full of shovel exit the hole to get that he's dug a hole. You know, because he's carrying a shovel. We know what you do with shovels. You bury dead people with them. No, just kidding. Also, after you see the first shovel full of dirt go on top of the piggy, you see him pat the ground. You don't have to see every single shovel full of dirt go back on top of the pig to get the sense that they've buried it. Okay? Now, we have this shot where they're leaving. Now, the reason why I say all that stuff about connecting is, yeah, we get the sense that he dug a hole. We don't have to see every shovel full of dirt exit the hole to see that he's dug a hole. We get that. But let's connect two other things. Father starts leading the son away. The next shot that I'm going to choose to use right now is one of these. I'm going to just call him the money shot because it's a shot of money. Thumbnail view. This one. One of these. We got several options. We got one where we start with the money in the foreground and the father and son come up over the hill. Dun, dun, dun. And then we've got others where the father and son come up over the hill to reveal the money in the foreground. Okay. I'm going to go with this one. So I'm going to hit an in and out point because I don't know how much of this clip I want to use, and stick it down here. So let's just watch these two shots together. Father leads the son away, and then we see them come up, and boom. Next shot would be the shot of our money tree, but connecting this shot and this shot, what does it do for you right now the way it is? Like how, as an audience member, what's it doing for you? What's it telling you?
It's like they're leaving. Well, I don't know. To me, it looks like they're leaving the recently buried pig
Okay, they're leaving the recently buried pig.
and walking up to a tree with money because it's like it doesn't seem like time has passed because he still has a shovel.
Okay, so okay. Observation is that not much time has passed because he's still got the shovel in his hands. Okay. What else? What else about it? Could the tree be 10 feet away from them? Like, do these shots immediately connect together? They can't perfectly immediately connect together because when they're leaving the first shot, he's got his shovel down, and then when they come into the second shot, he's got the shovel up on his shoulder again. So he missed out on at least a second of action. So they're not totally connected together. What happens if I do this? Add a cross dissolve.
It's a different day.
Could be a different day. Probably the same day because, like Dan said, he's still got his shovel.
Same clothes.
Same clothes, yeah. But
It's late.
could be quarter mile away. They maybe walked for 10 minutes, 1 minute. Who cares? Some time has passed. And then where has the dad taken the son? Well, to the money tree that he planted with his dad when he was a boy, of course. And look what's happened. It's grown into a fully grown money tree. That's the...
Yay!
You get it? You get it? Okay. It's low-hanging fruit as a concept, I know. Yuck, yuck, pun intended. Low-hanging fruit. Anyway. Tree, fruit, get it? Jeez. Rough crowd. All right, so next shot. We have a few different options for the next shot. We have this nice dolly through them standing next to each other. A broken piggy bank on the ground that's sprouted into a tree that's 25 years old. Okay. Or you could cut straight to, you could go to this shot, which is a little bit more obvious that there's the remains of a childhood piggy bank there. Or you could just go straight to the end shot, which is this one. Or not use this end shot at all. The thing about this is there are plenty of shots here for you to easily tell a 30-second story without even using half of them. Okay? I haven't even gotten into this whole thing in the kid's room where you see the kid putting money in his piggy bank and dad's standing in the doorway. I think it's time I teach my son his lesson, you know? There are many different shots with different reactions for that scene. I've seen people tell this story forward and backward. I've heard it told like it was like it's a flashback. Yeah, I've seen it told many different ways. So come up with your own way to tell this story. The way I told it is the most linear. So you know, if we were learning visual effects and animating and motion capture or motion tracking and all sorts of stuff like that, part of this assignment would be to take this shot and replace all the leaves with money. turn the leaves into money, but you don't have to do that. We're just going to use our imaginations that this tree has money on it. All right, so I am, if I look at this, I'm, let's cut this here, bring this back here. 45 seconds into my 30-second commercial. So Ripple Edit is going to be my friend. Trimming is going to be my friend. Trying to find a quicker way to get through these clips to here, because part of this assignment is going to be adding some graphics, having an offer, you know, adding voiceover to the spot. So my idea behind this shot was we shot it so wide so that we could superimpose graphics over the top of it. Another thing you can do is fade to a totally graphic treated screen where it's nothing but text and, you know, logos and things like that. You don't have to put graphics over this, but it's an option. Like I say, you don't even have to use this shot. You can use any shot you want. Okay. You are going to need to have some voiceover. We'll do voice recording and some audio editing next week. You're going to need to do some color correcting. We're going to need to add titles and graphics, and there will be some animation to those graphics. We're going to do that next week also. But for now, look through this footage, start cutting it together so that you have an idea of what kind of story you want to tell, and then you're actually, part of this assignment is you're going to write a script for your commercial that you're editing. Usually the script comes before the shoot, but you have footage that you can now kind of use your own creativity to make your own script. Yeah, so I'm going to end the screen capture there, and we'll talk about this more.